Hey y'all, hey, it's Khameleon K, and on this channel I help single moms own it all, their time, their life, and their finances through entrepreneurship or bossing up overall in every category of life. If that sounds like your kind of vibe, then don't forget to subscribe, and welcome to the fam, Khameleon. Okay, so today we're talking about recession-proof businesses or side hustles that single moms can do, some of which you can have your kids with you so you don't have to find a sitter for them, and other ones you may. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to speak on things that I can talk about firsthand, either through experience or through things that have worked for me either in the past or presently, or things that even my kids have done. Because if you know anything about me, I do believe in nurturing my kids' interests. So they even do things, you know, to make money for themselves, but it's all based on what they like. I don't try to, you know, force them in any, you know, either direction. And whatever they are into, I believe in going ahead and nurturing that so they can make a living doing those things. Now, right now, it is what it is. It may change later, but that's what I'm speaking on today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So two things that are guaranteed are life and death. So we want to go on both sides of the spectrum on this, okay? And I'm going to start with the latter one. So as far as death, okay, so I've recently lost my great grandmother, and she was about 102. She was 102, and so through that experience, I found out that they were charged $700 to basically make a video slide of the pictures of, you know, of her life, things like that. I didn't know that. I could have did, honestly, I would have done it for free, but I digress. I ended up I had lost her first, then I recently lost my stepfather, and I did it then. And now, you know, basically by people seeing what I can do, they are reaching out for me to do that for them. Now I'm going to tell you like this. From what I'm seeing, and this is more of a recent venture, but from what I'm seeing, people are being charged $400 to $700 for the video. Now so that gives you an idea of what you can make from doing something like that. That's here. I don't know where it is, you know, how much it is in other places. You'd have to do the research for where you are. But if you are good at editing, if that's something that you can do, it's something you can do with your kids in the house, you know what I mean, or when they're asleep, depending on the age of the kids, and you can go ahead and make some side hustle or make that into a full-blown business. And there are ways where you don't even really have to physically do the work. But I'm not getting into that in this video, but that is the first idea. So, you know, anything dealing with death, that is a recession-proof thing. People are always, I hate to say it like this, but, you know, everybody has to, you know, go one day, right? And so if you can do anything, like even if you're a makeup artist and that doesn't like creep you out to do makeup on, you know, people who have passed, if that doesn't, you know, if you can do that, you can stomach it, because I understand everybody isn't like, they can't do that. Or you do hair or whatever, like anything, and if you are good at it and you can, you know, stomach doing it on someone who's passed, you can make good money doing that. So anything dealing with death, you know, anything that you know how to do, anything you have access to, it could even be a product based if you know, want to sell tombstones or whatever. But anything dealing with death, that's definitely recession proof. That's always, you know, happening. You'll never run out of clients. So just one idea. The second one that I'm going to talk about is daycare. So I owned a daycare for 6 years. I actually plan on opening another one within the next few years, but I had one for 6 years, and in that 6 years, and initially the whole reason behind me opening a daycare is because I, like a lot of single moms that I have spoken to, don't like or don't want to have a nanny or a babysitter or a daycare, whatever, like raising their kids for 10 hours a day. If you work 8 hours a day, it might take you an hour to get, do your whole run, drop them off, go to work, and then back the same way after 5 p.m. right? And then by the time you get home, all you're doing is putting in the bed, getting them bed, feeding them, stuff like that, and then that's it. You do it all over again the next day. And I didn't like the idea of having someone practically raise my kids for me. I didn't like that. So daycare was the best answer for me. I intentionally bought my house first so that I wouldn't have any restrictions or anything like that. Also, I knew that basically if you start a business and then want to buy a house, you need 2 years of this positive income and all this, like who knows which direction that was gonna go. So I did decide to buy a house first so that I wouldn't have to deal with that later. And that was my first venture. That was back in 2011 when I started that. I saw my first 10K month in 2000. It took me a minute because I want to say it was like more of the end of 2011. In 2012, my first year of daycare was rough because I looked really young. And then let's just say 2013 was my first 10K month that I had in daycare. So I was able, once I got the hang of things, I loved it. Like, I got to be home with my kids. Like I said, my whole reasoning behind it was so that I could be home with them until at least they went to school. Like, then I wasn't so much worried about it because then they were at school. It's funny because now one is homeschooled anyway, but that was later on in life and I had my reasons for that. So that was like the whole point in doing it. It was like a win-win. Like, I got to be with my kids, I was helping other kids, I was able to be completely hands-on with my kids, and I loved that. My son, I hated leaving him at daycare, and I had to because he was my first kid. I didn't start the daycare until after my daughter was born, and I had to, when I had him, even before that, I knew I wanted to buy a house. So I want to say, like, after I had her, I really got serious and I buckled down. But yeah, so that's what ended up happening, and I started the business. I was home with both of them full time, able to be hands-on, teach. I taught my daughter from, she was with my grandmother up until she was 4 months. But other than that, all me. So yeah, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything. I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss any milestones. I didn't miss nothing. Like, I was there for everything, and it's nothing more, it's nothing more rewarding than that. So yeah, if that's something that you can do, you do have to have patience because you're dealing with other people's kids. But if that's something that you can do, go for it. Another thing that people always spend money on is their pets. People's pets become a part of the family. But a pet doesn't stop them from traveling. A pet doesn't stop them from going to work, things like that. And there are a lot of people, believe it or not, that need assistance with dog sitting, and you can take it further and get into dog training, dog grooming, things like that if you want to get certified in those things. But the easiest thing to start with is dog sitting, and whether that's in their house or even if while they're at work, you maybe start some type of side hustle or business in the neighborhood first, if that's what you choose to do, and then basically just take people's dogs out for them during the day when they're at work. So their dog doesn't have to be in a cage all day if that's not what they desire for their dogs. And I'm speaking on that too because my son has been doing that for the last couple of years. He's been dog sitting, and it can be a good side hustle. It can be a good business depending on what you charge. Look at and always say, like, do your research, but that's something that you could do if you are into animals and you love animals. I love animals, but It's not for everybody. Again, everything isn't. So if that's your thing, it might be something to look into. My daughter loves photography, and she actually takes some of my pictures. I actually would take her everywhere when I was taking my pictures. She took a lot of my pictures, whether it was for my business, whether it was just for personal use, whatever. Like, she did that for me because she is into photography. She does take good pictures. I'm not, you know. My daughter she could do it. She was doing her thing, okay? So yeah, people started to notice, and I put it out there that she was the one taking my pictures, and they would actually ask, like, oh, okay, well, how much would she charge to do, you know, a shoot for me, or a family shoot, or a dog shoot, whatever. Like, and so yeah, like, so it's a thing when we get into it being recession proof. If it were me, I would go after things that are invaluable, things that, moments in time that people won't get back. So, and that's kind of how you have to market yourself. So, like, for example, remember I said life and death, I was going to hit the other side of the spectrum, so now we're going to hit life. Maternity pictures, that's a big thing. It's popular. If you good, you get the props. You know what to do. You're creative, you know how to, you know, get the right angles, etc. Then that's something that could be good for you. That's a moment that people aren't gonna get back. You'll never be pregnant with this specific child again. So that's how you can kind of push it. Also, once the child is born, you know, newborn shoots, things like that. That baby's never gonna be a baby again. People cherish those moments. So if you can, you know, get into the right market for you, a market that is recession proof, so regardless of what's going on, you know, you can still, even weddings. So yeah, if you're good at that, that may be something for you. And just generally speaking, if you see a gap in the market that has a need, and you have the skill set or a unique approach to that gap that you can contribute to the market in any way, then go ahead and be that person to fill that gap. A lot of times, like, gap fillers are the most successful. So if you see anything, you know, that maybe even you needed once, or, you know, or you had to figure out on your own, whatever the case may be, it could be something that you needed once that you can now teach others. It could be like who you once were at one point, and you overcame that obstacle or that hurdle on your own, but something really would have helped you out during that time. It could be an object, it can be an item, it could be a service. It doesn't already have to exist. It just depends on what it is, and you can have a unique approach to something or someone. It could even be just your specific client avatar, and that just means like a specific type of person, or, you know, who you're talking to. So you can fill a gap in a market that you're skilled in and create your own unique approach to that gap, either through who you target, or make yourself stand out by being that person that you once needed, or have that item that you once needed. What I'm saying is approach the past you. That's the best way to do it. Whoever you were, and what you were challenged with, and what obstacles you faced, and go ahead and, you know, fill a gap through that by being uniquely you. Just have a unique approach to that same thing, especially if it's something that you haven't seen done before. Like, then you have an advantage. It could be a powerful thing if you're good at it. So I hope this video was helpful, and until next time.
Everything that I want, I gotta go get it, cause I could be gone in a minute. And now I've been working so hard, so now I'm living. I deserve it. Life when I was clever, now I see the picture perfect. Flying in the air, I don't deserve them, but I earned it. I got them calling me leader. How do you do it? I seen ya. All the years of grinding, it's just time, and I deserve it. I tell them again, they look at my wins, but I deserve it. You see the way that I'm working, life was never just perfect. Now every day's my birthday, and I deserve it. It took me time, now I just sit back and recline. Look at the sky, thinking like, wow, man, you made it. Ooh.